Thank you so much. Thank you so much for still being here at the end of the day. It's nice to see that everyone stuck around. I want to end this day by returning to my question from the beginning of the day. We can't break through on social media, yet we can't seem to live without it. And why is that? Well, I said in the beginning that I think there's a problem with us not talking enough, and the conversations seem to have gone lost, and everything has gone onto social media. And that, I guess, is okay. The problem is that we seem to struggle so much with social media, with how to handle it. Businesses struggle with social media. We struggle with social media. And to get a message out, and let's say that social media is our platform of choice, then there are three key components that you have to both accept and adhere to if you want to succeed with that. One is get skilled as a speaker. 2, dare to be honest. And 3, get your purpose straight. So let's break that down a little bit. The first one, get skilled as a speaker. Hopefully by now, after 5 hours event, that's a self-given, right? Why we need to get skilled as a speaker. I hope that you've seen, also with the future speakers that have been on the stage today, with just a month of training, how far you can get, how powerful you can become in terms of who you can reach and the impact that you can have if you just fundamentally get skilled at being up there, at being in front of people. Yeah? So, get skilled. Do what you need to do. Go find your local speakers club. Join a Toastmasters. Sign up for one of Talks for Change's workshops. Go wherever you feel comfortable with going, but get skilled. The second one is dare to be honest. About a year ago, I was in Latin class, believe it or not. Why would anyone study Latin in these days? I did. At Copenhagen University, I was studying and still do study theology. And our very competent Latin professor, we were reading an ancient text about the Roman Empire in Latin. So he needed to put a little bit perspective on when this text was written and what the context was and so on. So he told us this story about the Emperor Nero. I can't remember clearly, I think it was about 70 years BC, meaning before that Jesus dude. You know who I'm talking about. And Emperor Nero, Roman emperors, they tended to be brutal and not very nice people in general. Nero was exceptionally crazy. He was batshit lunatic. And he had a favorite slave called Sporus. Sporus was this 15-year-old absolute dish of a boy. Sporus was beautiful. So obviously he was Nero's favorite slave, and Nero raped and sexually abused this boy on a regular basis, as was the custom in the Roman Empire about 2,000 years ago. Not a nice thing, but that's what he did. Nero also had, shall we say, proclivity for beating up his wives. So after his third wife had died from Nero beating her up, he just got fed up with women and said, they're too difficult, these women. Good. Talking about what we talked before, right? So he decided, I'm not going to have any more wives. Or I do, but I don't want the women. So he decided he was going to marry Sporus, the 15-year-old girl. And it's been documented by the historian Eusebius that he actually dressed the boy up in a dressing gown, had a wedding. He even wanted to perform a sex change operation on the 15-year-old girl, cut off his genitalia and turn him into an actual woman, so that he could have him as his wife without it being a real woman. Yeah? Documentation is vague on whether the operation happened or worked. It was absolutely... Can you imagine? It's 2,100 years ago, a sex change operation. Yeah, good luck with that. At least it's going well. We don't know if it worked. We do know that he survived Sporus, because when Nero was assassinated, the boy was inherited onto the next emperor, as was also the custom, who kept raping the boy because he was, after all, a hottie. He was, after all, beautiful. And then that emperor got assassinated, and so on to the third emperor. And after 3 emperors and 15 years of rape, the boy finally committed suicide at age about 30. So, pleasant little story. While he was telling this, yeah, I can feel the mood. Now it's going kind of oof. And that's what happened in the school that day. I was looking around at my classmates, and I could see the anger and the offense growing in my classmates. But it seemed like the anger was directed at our professor who was telling me this story, and I didn't get that, because it was like he was being offensive for telling us the story. But in my opinion, that was freedom of speech at its finest. Telling us history without making it sound nice, without leaving out any details. Telling us exactly with how it was without having any real emotion about it. Because how could you have emotion about something that happened 2,000 years ago? Ethics and moral standards were hardly invented back then. They certainly did not apply to the Roman Empire. So I didn't understand the taking offense part. And don't get me wrong about what I'm about to say. No offense. Get it? Because many people have abused freedom of speech to deliberately mock and ridicule certain groups and minorities. But out of that has risen this self-proclaimed defender of the weak called political correctness. And the defenders tend to be people who do not themselves belong to any of the groups or minorities that they claim to defend. And my beef with that is, who are they to assume that, let's say, gay people are weak and need to be defended? Who are they to assume that women are weak and have been oppressed and need to be defended from patriarchy? I think we've seen today that women are bloody strong and powerful. They're a lot stronger than us men. They're quite capable of standing up for themselves. They don't need us to be offended on their behalf. They just need to be heard and respected and acknowledged so that we can change a situation that clearly doesn't work very well. It's impossible to talk about things that are difficult without offending anyone. That cannot be done. It must be okay to offend as we stumble awkwardly but valiantly in an imperfect attempt to talk about things that are difficult. It's not okay to deliberately hurt or slander other people's race and religion, sexual identity, gender identity. But it must be okay to offend if it comes from a source of curiosity with an honest wish to understand a perspective other than your own. Mic drop. Should I say it again? It must be okay to offend if it comes from a source of curiosity with an honest wish to understand a perspective other than your own. 3, get your purpose straight. How many of you have seen the new Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma? Ooh, how disturbing is that? Everyone who hasn't seen it, go home and see it tonight. Those who have seen it, am I right? You don't want to live one more day in this world not having seen that film. In my opinion, it's one of the most important things that have come out in the last 2 decades. It's so disturbing, and I can't watch anything without being hugely paranoid. So, The gist of the social dilemma is basically that truth does not exist anymore. Whenever you, well, that's not quite true. Truth does not exist. Well, that's not quite true. I'm funny sometimes. Yeah. It just dawned on me. That was actually quite funny. Because there is one little corner of the internet where truth still prevails. It's this thing called Wikipedia. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a great little idea. It's this scorned, strange little land where whenever anyone asks a question, everyone actually gets the same answer. Yeah? It's a cool concept. But that's not the land we live anymore. Whenever you watch a video on YouTube, what you get is an altered reality that has been tailored and customized by an algorithm based on your individual preferences, and a personalized truth forms around you, where you keep getting confirmed that what you already believe is truth, because you keep getting fed more of the same based on your preferences on social media. And yeah, I know that sounds like a conspiracy. It isn't. That's how social media works. And if you think about it, you already know this. You know they run on algorithms. So the noise of social media is not the problem. How we relate to each other as humans is the problem. Here's a few stats, a few statistics. It's from the social dilemma, so you can go home and watch it. Since 2009, when the like button was invented on Facebook, that was designed with the purpose to spread positivity on the internet. But the exact opposite has happened. We've grown addicted to likes to a horrible extent. To the extent where in the United States, since 2009, hospitalizations due to self-harm among girls aged 15 to 19 has gone up by 70%. Hospitalizations due to self-harm in girls age 10 to 14 has gone up by 189% in a little over a decade. Suicides among girls aged 15 to 19 has gone up by 62%. Suicides among girls aged 10 to 14 years of age has gone up by 151%. 151% girls aged 10 to 14. What? And everything points to social media. It's funny, it's interesting, because that is not funny. But the interesting thing is that Shakespeare wrote about this many years ago. He wrote one of the most famous monologues of all time. And, well, it wasn't famous when he wrote it. He wrote it when he wrote it. And then it became world famous at some point. And you all know the first line. Very few people know the rest of the monologue, and very few people know what it's actually about. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of trouble, and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. Shakespeare's brilliant question here is, why is it better to live than to die, when all we do in life is complain and accuse and suffer? The reason why we suffer so much in life It's because we don't communicate. Another great author, George Bernard Shaw, framed this so beautifully when he said, the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Think about that for a second. The single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. We're stuck behind screens, writing volumes of utterances that we would never share to each other if we were face to face, under the illusion that we have communicated. But it is face to face that life begins. It's in the interaction that we become human. And that is what Talk for Change is for. Amen. So here is my answer and my fulfillment of my promise from the beginning. We can't avoid social media. That would be foolish and naive to expect. We need social media. Businesses need social media. Social media needs us. We're the social part. Right? Without us, it would just be media. They would have branding problems, right? They need us as well. But the core of communication is a response of understanding and intent. And here comes the gold. Are you ready? Ready with your notepads and your phones? This is the one that you're going to make a meme out of, with a picture of me on Facebook going, and then a little quote. Here it comes. You have not communicated until you have heard the retelling of your own words ring true to your ears. Do you get it? You have not communicated until you have heard the retelling of your own words ring true to your ears. So 1, get skilled as a speaker. 2, dare to be honest. Dare to be personal. Dare to be vulnerable. And assume that you will offend. Because if you don't offend anyone, trust me, your message is not important enough. And 3, get your purpose straight. Don't put anything out there unless you're doing it for the right reasons. So, let me end with a little moral twist. Because it is getting late, right? We've been here for a while. And I am ending, don't worry, I'm ending. You'll be out of here in a minute. This is just me being me. Can we stop pretending that likes and views are the most important thing to our lives? Can we stop overloading the world with content unless it serves someone other than social media itself? Can we stop being offended if other people don't share our view and look in the mirror instead? Can we please get curious again? Can we get back to truth being the same for all mankind? Can we please get back to the conversation? I'll start. Hi, I'm Martin. It's nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you.